Welcome to Cash Call. Listen live as expert sales trainers give actionable feedback on real calls while you learn coaching tips directly from the professionals. Cash Call back again this week. Dale Archdekin. And normally you'd have Brian Curtis, my co-host, with us, but I don't know, he's out training or being trained or doing something to support our industry. So you've got just Dale today, but nobody wants just Dale. So what I did instead is I brought you guys an amazing guest that we're going to talk about today. It's the Power Real Estate Group. They're personal clients of my company, Smart Sales Coaching. We train their agents. And I wanted to introduce you to the geniuses behind this company, José, Samano, and Jeffery Mcgonigle. They are out of Anaheim, California, and they have about 157 agents. And over the last 12 months, they've sold over 500 homes and over 480 million in sales. So I feel like these guys know a little bit about lead gen and lead conversion. So with no further ado, guys, thanks for joining us on Cash Call today.
Oh, man, I really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone on Cash Call. You guys are amazing. I've been watching some of your shows, and there's a lot of value in everything that Dale brings into the table. Brian is amazing. I kind of got hooked a little bit. You guys saw like my new Netflix series, and so I was like 12 episodes in. Definitely you guys are all doing a great job. And if whoever is listening, I just from everything that I've seen out there, I think you guys are getting a lot of value and a lot of real like detail in the weeds type of information. I love the live recording as well. So great job.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that so much. Thanks for coming on. And listen, the audience out there, I don't know what it's going to cost us to get both Jeffery and Jose on here because, you know, they bill at a really high rate. But listen, you know, I know that we've been training your team. You guys have had great success. We've really enjoyed working with you. And I just wanted to give back to the audience. So we've been interviewing our clients, our really successful clients, to show other people, you know, peel back the curtain so that they can get into the weeds around your lead generation, your lead conversion, your accountability, your recruiting. And I really want to talk about that kind of stuff today so that we can pass the knowledge around. And so why don't we get started there? Let's talk about how you guys built the company. How'd you get to 157 agents? And if you have any advice on recruiting out there, you know, we have a lot of clients that work with my company and they all want to build, they all need to recruit, they all need more salespeople. And so how did you guys build it and what kind of advice do you have for them?
Go ahead, take that.
All right. So, you know, we're a part of EXP. And then so when we decided to join EXP, we were at Remax before then, and we saw the opportunity and understanding that not everyone can kind of learn online. And we saw that there was a huge hole there of like agents. And later on, we found out that there's a huge hole for agents to learn and practice and really treat this as a real kind of like professional job. And so that's the one thing that we really try to hammer in with agents. It's like, what's your schedule? Is it 8 to 5? You can't make the kind of money that you're.
Is it more like 10 to 3? You know, yeah. or 11 to 2? Maybe we should talk about that.
Yeah, the 4-hour work week book doesn't work. Not in real estate. You know,
Timothy Ferris has a great idea, but it doesn't quite work in real estate until you have about a bajillion agents under you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then so you know, we just saw the opportunity there. And we've just been big believers in production, you know, and real agent attraction, which what we mean by that is like, we don't do too much outreach. We just build agents and then the agents tell the story. And that's how we're able to generate a bunch of people that are contacting us. We recently hired a company sort of like Smart Setter, you know, company like that, that creates appointments for you to be able to chat with agents, because we're big on online lead generation and working with vendors and having people that's what they do best, do that. And then so we just get in front of a lot of agents that way. Recently, we get maybe like 1 or 2 a month that way. But the main bulk of what we do is word of mouth. It's people wanting to be a part of a community and a culture. It's people wanting to be uncomfortable and wanting to be pushed, and you see it, and then so results speak louder than words, and that's really kind of, we have agents first year hitting 15 million, and so people are like, how did you do that? And it's like, well, you know, we train every day.
So I assume you're taking those stories, you're promoting them out there, sort of like me having you guys on as guests onto this podcast, right? Because I'm highlighting the fact that your client's a success story, which obviously listeners are like, oh, wow, I want to be like them. So that makes sense. So you're taking those agent, you're quickly getting your agents some success, and then obviously putting that out there and promoting it.
Yeah, and it's themselves. Like when they're meeting out their agent, when they're meeting agents, they're like, "How long have you been in the industry?" And they're like, 3 months. And they're like, "How many escrows do you have?" And they're like, 3. "How many do you have?" And they're like, 0. "How long have you been?" 20 years. And it's like, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" And like honestly, we get like 15 to 20 people every month that our agents recruit for us that we don't even need to do any recruiting for.
Wow. All right. Well, that's fantastic. And I don't mean to laugh about people that are struggling getting business.
Of course.
I don't mean to do that whatsoever. But if you listen to enough Cash Call, what you need to do business is not rocket science. It sucks sometimes, and it's hard work or annoying work sometimes, but it's not rocket science. Well, let's go back to before you had 157 agents and before you had an army of successful, quick start agents who are promoting you. How did you guys get started finding agents and convincing them to come and, work your leads and do the hard stuff? Were you cold calling? Were you just networking? How did you initially you now have big momentum. How did you get to the momentum?
I think, go ahead. I think one of the things that we've done, nothing's changed. So like the one thing is like that Jose was hitting on is money-making activities. We keep the process very, very simple. We're not the gurus out here. We're not doing any of that. It's work. It's hard work, and we preach the same thing every single day of being of service, being asking the right questions, training people on not how to just be like just to get it the easy way. So a lot of it really does come from one, we're in an organization in a place where there's just a bunch of agents who, hey, guess what? I signed up. I need help. Come on in. Let us actually show you what to do. Do you want to sell houses? Do you want to help people? Do you want to take care of your family? Fantastic. We're going to give you the roadmap to take it that route. One of the things that we do, we have role play every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in our office. And we have it at the same time. When new agents come, we have them come to see what the office culture is like, because you're not going to like it here if you don't like being held accountable, if you don't want to grow, if you don't want to, put your best foot forward every single day. So that's a part of it, is making sure that we're bringing in the right people. And for those who, aren't in love with what we do, giving them a great exit strategy and maybe referring them over to someone who does fit a different model, and working from that aspect of it.
Got it. That makes sense. All right, great. Let's see where we at. We got less than 20 minutes left. It's a half-hour show, man. We got to cram a lot of stuff in here, and I really appreciate this. And if we'll drop your contact info if you're okay with that. If people want to reach out to you if they have questions at the end of this, so they can get some more answers. But let's talk about sources. Just what high level? What are the best lead sources you guys are working right now? Your top 3 or 4, whatever it is.
Jeff.
So
we are a Zillow Flex team. We do pretty well on that. We're always in growth mode. We're able to bring in 500-600, and we're great partnership with our leadership team at Zillow. Shout out Leaf. And then also being able to next probably Ylopo. But we also keep our agents very, very, when we're big on the organic side as well. About 60% of our transactions that we close actually come from making sure that our agents aren't just depending on the online side, but actually going out and doing the open houses, doing the networking events, doing these things that are going to get them in front of people. We had agents.
Let me jump in real quick with a question. Okay, great. That sounds awesome. You're making sure they're doing open houses, networking events, and I think you said one other thing.
Just being out there, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one of the things, but it's going to be Zillow, Ylopo, Clever. If there's a partnership out there, we have it. Jose's on the front line talking to, Ojo Plus, all these different, online leads, nurturing them the correct way, having the ISAs play a part, and then giving the appointments to our agents, and our agents being able to practice what they preach in role play and in training to go out there and help the clients take the next step.
Okay, great. And you know what? I was about to interject some accountability or measurement questions, but I'll keep that to the end. So we'll flow through. Flow through what we already talked about doing. And by the way, I'm here at the YLOPO Mastermind Live right now. I snuck off so that I could do the cash call episode with you guys, because I'm like, oh man, if I got these guys as a guest, and the audience wants you guys, I need to come do the podcast. So if you want me to talk, to Howard or G about anything, you let me know, okay?
Ray alive. But yeah, I mean, we actually try to keep it extremely simple for our agents, and we really just say, go to our appointments, go to open houses, and make phone calls. That's it.
Wait. I feel like we need to chisel that onto a stone tablet, right? And put it up somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Just say what you said again, Jose.
Yeah.
One more time.
All you need,
One more time.
Just go to appointments, go to open houses, and make phone calls, and like that's really kind of it. We feel like agents are, there's obviously the shiny object syndrome, right? And then there's, when in our office, we try to help the agents only concentrate on one thing, and that one thing is converting. So the lead making, or the lead capturing, or the lead generating, we do that for them for the most part. The lead nurturing part, we do that for them for the most part. They do a little bit of both, when they're doing their open house or when they're doing that, but primarily we like to concentrate on them going to appointments and getting in front of people and meeting people and having real conversations with them, because it's still a contact sport, right? And so this year alone, I think we're at 7,400 appointments for the year. Wow. That we've been able to create for our agents. And that's something that we're really kind of proud of, because we're really concentrating on that. And then it's moving the needle down the funnel a little bit more. Then it's how many people are we actually meeting? Let's focus on that metric. And then we'll keep moving down that funnel until we get to how many people are we getting, or that are coming in that are, not only are we creating an appointment, but are also already pre-approved. And so just keep moving the needle down. It's really kind of our goal.
That's excellent. And I assume you guys are leveraging the systems inside Follow Up Boss, inside YLOPO, with automations, messaging, all of that stuff. So I'm just fleshing that out for our listeners. It's not just relying solely on your agents to consistently nurture these leads, but leveraging the technology, I assume.
Yeah, big on that. Everything happens through Follow Up Boss for us. The communication from the lenders, from even when it goes into escrows, our TC department, everything is transparent. I used to think Jose was crazy. Like, they just want one click, Jeff. Figure out one click. I'm like, man, one click. No, they really do. So we try to do our part to make it very, very, very easy for the agents, to where they log in, ding, there goes the phone, they claim the lead, they go on the show and they come back, they put it in escrow, all the escrow information is there, the lender communication, even the phone calls that are being recorded, they can go back and listen to. Just having it one place, one system, one structure, one path, one goal. So
one click.
That's excellent.
I used to be in sales, and I was always the bad one at updating everything, but I would always crush deals. And I was just like, if it was just simpler, I could do it, but it's not. Like, I have to click 10 different things. So for us, it's always looking at something that we do, and then it's like, how do we break that and make that easier? And then it's like, okay, cool, now it's 5 steps. How do we break this and make this 2 steps? And then it's always kind of like, we're never done. It's always working, something that we're always kind of doing.
Yeah. No, listen, I mean, being in sales also, I would have, I wasn't that great at the administrative part or the details, but I could sell. Right. And, honestly, like I say you can screw up everything else in your real estate business as long as you make the sales. As long as you're making the sales, everything else can be screwed up. And unfortunately, in a lot of cases, the sales aren't getting made because we have systems that are disconnected, or we have systems that are disorganized and that aren't being used. And team leaders focus a lot on trying to force the salespeople to straighten out the systems, when what you guys are saying is build the system that is straightened out and is so simplified that the salesperson just makes sales.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Excellent. All right, so let's talk about training and lead conversion. So obviously use my company for training, and we've had an impact on you guys, and we really appreciate working with you. But but it's, we're lead conversion scripting and dialogue specialists, right? It takes more than just what we do to have the kind of company that you have. So why don't you give us a rundown of how your training works? How does your onboarding go? How does your ongoing training go?
So coming in, we took about a year and a half ago, we took Ruben, who was our head transaction coordinator, and he loved conversing and explaining everything to the agent. So we just watched and was like, dude, let's get him out of that room and actually move him into onboarding. So he literally walks you through the onboarding into EXP, X, Y, and Z. And then you're going to go on basically a month-long, hour-a-day training on contracts, how to write. They have to write a ton of different contracts. Then we also listen to them make phone calls.
Wait. Let me slow you down. I'm sorry to break in. So a couple of my great clients, they're here, MBNA Realty. They're here at the event, and I've been working on getting them to implement this process, which is your agents have to write practice offers so that they can really get it down. And I know that a lot of teams out there struggle when they don't have a good, consistent onboarding that puts a certain level of responsibility and knowledge onto their salespeople, right? If you don't imbue your salespeople with that level of knowledge and that a certain skill set, then you have to hire a bunch of people. You have to pay a bunch more salaries to support them just to get that done. So I'm really glad that you said that part.
And not only that, I think as team leaders, we have a fiduciary duty to our clients to make sure the agents that we're pairing them up with understand what the processes are. So when it comes down to it, like, yeah, you have access to our pond with 100,000 leads in there. Yeah, let's make the calls. We're going to show you what to say. We're going to help you on that process. But also, what happens when someone really wants to buy a house? Are you checking off that box correctly? Are you writing and making sure you're protecting your client, but also winning and writing an aggressive offer? They have a team lead, and they go on showings and shadow their team leads. For our newer agents, we call it the scrimmage team. We listen to the calls. We have like office designations, like, if you're representing a buyer, if you're representing a seller, how to run comps. Like, they have to pass all of those courses, and those are given to them to say, hey, here's what you need to do to be able to get to that next level. We don't just want every agent. We really want to focus on bringing in the best and helping to develop the best agents. So that's why that's the process goes from there. And they'll do it, man. Everyone's like, no, our agents won't do it. Yes, they will. The good ones want to get better. Like, that's point blank. They want to grow. They understand.
Listen, if you tell, this really kills me, man. It's also like parenting, right? You're like, well, I told them to do it, but they didn't do it. Listen, man, if you told somebody to do something and they didn't do it, then it's your fault that it's not getting done. It's not their fault they didn't do it. It's your fault that you're not getting it done. That's what leadership is, right? It's achieving through other people. And I'm not saying being a hard ass or anything, but I think that leaders really, the great leaders ultimately take 110% responsibility for what did and didn't happen, right? If I tell you to do something, if I ask you to do something, if I say this is a requirement and that person doesn't do it, now one of two things is either going to happen. I'm either going to give away my power and say, oh, well, they didn't do it. Or I'm going to say, no, I'm a leader. I'm responsible for it getting done through you, right? And you're either the right person to do it or you're not the right person to do it. That's the only way that it goes. So I love it. Every time we're at an event, I love talking to you guys because we're aligned, in the same perspective in that way.
Yeah, and it all started with a lot of our scrimmage team that we have, which I think it's the best version of our training that we have so far. Started with agents saying when they onboarded, hey, well, I just don't know what to do every day. So it's like, let's create a schedule for you. Then it was like, I don't know how to write a contract. We were passing people through to having what we consider success coaches, team leaders, whatever you want to decide to call them. And they were having to train people on how to open up a super key. And it's like, all we're doing is bottlenecking them from actually focusing on their agents to move them to a transaction. So now we've got a system down that in the first 90 days in our office, you should be able to open up an escrow. most of them are opening escrows within the first 2 months. And specifically if there are a full-time agent who's bought into our system. And it also, just that scheduling piece allows them to understand that they need to have a schedule, because most agents don't have a schedule, and so they don't know how to block schedule. And then so it's all trying to create like a super agent, the best agent, the one with the, with like, he does 3 hours of call time every day, right? He does, door knocking, or like he does some sort of thing like that. He understands how to write a contract. He knows how to put a contract together in one piece. So we make them do like 10 contracts, 10 CMAs. We make them go show houses. We make them do 1,000 phone calls before they graduate from this entire team. And Jeff has just done a wonderful job of putting all of that together. And it's really like Ninja Warrior course, only 25% survive.
Yeah, that's important. I hope the listeners are hearing that. I know we have a lot of would-be team leaders, a lot of team leaders who want to build a team or have a small team and they want to grow their team, or team leaders who, and listen, frustration happens, right? Even within any company that I've ever had, there's days where I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. I love doing what I'm doing. And then other days where I'm like, WTF, can nobody get this done, right? But so we all go through that, but we go through those periods, but the more stuff you can systematize, like what you guys have done, that sounds fantastic. So everything that you just said should be aspirational for some of the people that are listening to this that want to continue to sort out their teams and increase their production. Excellent. Let's talk about any tips around lead conversion. So obviously up leveling your salespeople's skills, but any other tips or tricks you guys have that have really helped you increase your lead conversion?
So one of the things I like to say, it's not in the script, it's in the drip. And basically it's you want to be scripted, but eventually you want to make it your own, and you want to sound like yourself, and you want to be, an individual and all of that kind of stuff, right? So we consider ourselves professional sales athletes, and so we always have the same swing, we always have the same form. But Stephen Curry shoots a little different than Shaq, right? But they all kind of still have the same form, right? And then they get different results, and then so that's kind of one of the things that we teach the agents, just like, look, utilize the script to give you form, but then internalize it so you can add your own little flair to it, and you can have personality. And it's about the relationship more so than the check. And then so this is not like a transactional sale where it's just like, here's the money and then here's the property. It's like multiple closes that you're having to do throughout a transaction, whether it's just getting them to the appointment or getting them to bring in the paperwork or getting them to do certain things like that.
Or to reduce the price, or to raise their offer, or to not throw the deal because the refrigerator is not included.
Correct. So those are all multiple closes. So it's a long sales cycle that you're going to have intervals of multiple closes. So, just because you won a battle doesn't mean you've won the war yet. And then, so it's something to remember, throughout all of these things. And then, so that's kind of one of the things that I guess we could say, but I mean, we have more detailed stuff, Jeff.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback off of that. There's a few, one-liners. We like to, and we say it often, we're not trying to be someone's, because we have a ton of leads, right, coming in. You don't want to be someone's one-time agent. You want to be someone's lifetime agent. Like, get back to the fundamentals of it. Like, you have an opportunity to meet someone and help take them down a process, and that you do every single day. Fall in love with what you do. Like, don't just like it, but fall in love with what you do, and have gratitude for it. So a lot of those things it's easier to think about the hard times and the ups and downs of it, and then being consistent. One of our core values is discipline. And I've said this multiple times. Motivation is lust, discipline is love. Discipline is
Wait, hold on. You said motivation is lust, discipline is love. I just want to make sure you guys got that.
Right. So if you've ever been in love, yeah, there's good days and there's bad days, but no matter what are you sacrificing? What you have, and you're going to cherish that. And you understand why you do what you do every single day, and why you choose to be good every single day.
Motivation comes and goes, right?
It comes and goes. That's why there's always one of these little events. But no, you don't need all the events. You just need to stick to what it is, the purity of it. So we try to just keep them, like we said, make them simple and just go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like to remind people, it's like, hey, you are not going to feel any more like making your contacts tomorrow than you do right now. So you might as well do it now.
Might as well do it now.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not going to get any more in lust with making contacts. So just kiss the frog now.
And it, yeah, and then sometimes, you know, you just got to do it, man. And you just got to get out there and put yourself in that moment. Like for me, I like to, like, I'm big on, like I said, like the sport mentality. So I try to mentalize myself, like making a great call when I'm driving to work. Like I like to, like, you know, if I'm doing ALM, it's like I had the perfect ALM, right? Like I just crushed it in my mind. And it's like I'm making those free throws without like shooting a ball. Like I used to play basketball, so that they would always kind of make us simulate like we were actually shooting a ball and it wasn't. So I try to do that as well with like making a great call or even making a great listing call or any of those things. But you know, as far as converting leads, I if I could give a tip, one of the things that I really like to do with my clients is I like to make sure that I create relationships where people like I intentionally create relationships with my clients that are beneficial to me, and I get to create that. And it's one of the things that I teach the agents. It's like, because you have a great client today, or because an agent has a great client, is they've created this great client. And what do I mean by that? It's like, it's a person that communicates well, right? And that gets, and that follows my direction, right? Those are that to me is a client that I want to work with, but I get to create that relationship. So I start off with, let's say, as soon as I finish sending you a text message after a phone call, I'll say, could you please like it? Right? So I can make sure that you received it, right? And then so I start giving them these subtle micro agreements throughout the beginning of the relationship that are very tight-knit closed. And I'll say, hey, I'll call you back in the next 10 to 15 minutes just to, you know, let you know kind of what's going on with the appointment. And then so not only did I say my name on the call, on the initial call, and at the end of the call, so that's twice. Then I send them a text with my name, that's 3. Then I call them in 10 to 15 minutes, that's 4 times I've given them my name within a 15-minute period, 30-minute period. And I've noticed that I'm able to create a very close bond with my clients very quickly. And that allows me to dictate the relationship from then on. So they understand if I'm calling, they pick up. If they send me a text, I'm replying back within, you know, a reasonable time. I understand that if I give them space, they're only going to make that gap bigger. And it's only like, so if I take 2 hours to call them, they're going to take 4 hours to call me back. And if I give them 4 hours, then they're going to take 8 hours. And it just becomes this, like the girl in high school game, right? Where you give her your number and she takes 2 days and then you give it, you know, so I try to limit that amount of time.
Dating advice, high school dating advice by José Samano. Like, didn't even know we were getting. That's a bonus, everybody.
Yeah.
All right, so we're over time, but this is important, and I want to get to the accountability part. So for our listeners that are there still hanging out, listen, you're going to get, this is bonus content. You get a little extra love today because I'm kind of selfish and I want to get this out of them and share it. Let's quickly talk about accountability. How do you implement it? How do you articulate it? And how do you reinforce it? And what do you do? At what point do you say to somebody, you're not following it? And then what do you do?
A lot of the accountability gets thrown back on this side over here. Accountability starts with setting the right expectations. The reason why role play starts at 9, all interviews happen at 9:30. Why? Because I want you to see what it takes to be here, right? You are you're volunteering your time to work with Power Real Estate Group. We're not forcing you. But we will volunteer to give you the Zillow Flex and to do this and to do that. It's a true partnership, right? You are hiring us to help you take your career to the next level. A lot of times, like we do, so everyone has a team lead. We have weekly meetings and things like that with your team lead. And then there's quarterly, skip. Like I'll meet with the agents who are on teams. And I'll go over it, like, follow-up boss tells me how many calls you made, how many appointments you set. And we sat down and you said that you were going to do this, this, and this. So if you said you were going to do 20 pick up 20 calls, and you picked up 5, and your goal was 28 transactions this year, all right, cool. So you're now on pace with 5. Are you okay with 5? Because I can hold you accountable to 5 transactions, or I can be there for you and push you and help you get to 20 transactions. You let me know how you want me to, how hard you want me to turn the dial up. And letting them come to self-discovery a lot. And don't wait till the end of the year, because that's when they're like, oh my God, I didn't hit my goal. It's your fault. No, you didn't hit your goal because on week 4 of the year, not week 52, you stopped doing what you needed to do. And being consistent in what we do helps, our agents to be like, all right, cool. They see the storms. It's up as a team lead. They see everything. They're like, all right, cool. This happened, that happened, this changed, that changed. But they were like, all right, cool. If we can weather the storm and be consistent, then they shall as well. So.
And are your team leads in production also, or are they out of production and just managing agents?
No, they're in production. They show up to role play. They lead from the front, right? So they're picking up a certain amount of Zillow calls and things like that. And we don't just assign them people. It's a sit down, it's an interview. It's a, hey, let's say Jose was a team lead, or we use Jojo as a team lead. Hey, how are you doing with bandwidth? We measure how everyone is doing. So if everyone's not doing well, we're not adding more people, right? So it's a brokerage within a brokerage within a brokerage. We have coaching consultations with them as well, to say, hey, here's what you could do differently. Here's what we can do, X, Y, and Z. So
yeah. And it's a true collaboration. I would say like 80 to 90% of all of our transactions are collaborated with. They're not single agent transactions. So there's 2 agents getting paid on almost every single one of our transactions. And that's kind of by design. We like collaboration. We like people working with each other. And we just find it now that all the agents just like, hey, you want to work with me? Let's work together. And it just really kind of works out. And then, on the accountability piece, just kind of reaching back on it, one of the things that we sometimes hear from agents that they're telling us is like, hey, well, I want to go to a team that doesn't call me, that doesn't tell me to show up for role play, that doesn't call me out on my, CRM and how I never opened it and I never use it and how I never call. They just don't care. And I said, well, exactly. They don't care. We care. So that's why we call you. That's why we follow up with you. That's why we buy leads for you. And that's why we have ISAs that are creating appointments for you, because you came to us saying you had a goal in mind and a vision to be a successful agent within whatever it is that is. And our goal, Jeff and I, is to get you to that point. And that's why we push you. And that's why we do that. And it's because we care, man. And the whole relationship of a parent, from what you said, I think there's a lot of similarities there, because it's like, I don't want to make my room. And you're like, well, you kind of have to.
That's great. All right, guys, I really appreciate all the time. And listen, if you are in the Anaheim, California area and you want an amazing team to align yourself with, if you want to get them to help you improve your business, take advantage of their resources and training and experience, reach out to these guys. How should they reach out to you?
Okay.
Instagram handle, Jose Roberto Samano. They can go there, or they could go to Power Real Estate Group in Anaheim, and they can kind of find us there as well.
Just tell them I saw you on Cash Call with Dale, and that will get your foot in the door.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, we're open. So anybody that you saw Dale on Cash Call, let me know, and you're good to go in our office.
There you go. You get a pass. You get the Dale pass.
Come on in.
Yeah.
I'm Jeffery Mcgonigle. Jeffery Mcgonigle at all my handles, and even at my email, jefferymcgonigle@gmail.com. Reach out. We're down to help. And even if you already have a team, like we have people we're a part of our team that have opened offices literally across the street. We're down to help you guys to grow your business. And we're big on collaboration. So we would love to learn from everybody out there as well. So let's partner up and let's make the industry a better world. Be the change you want to see in the world. So let's do it.
Fantastic, guys. Thank you so much for coming on today. Great to have you. Great clients, great guests. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, everybody.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks for listening to Cash Call today. If you like what you heard, come check us out at smartsalescoaching.com, and we'll be back again next week.